The only thing we have to worry about is battling all of the wasps that are in the garden today. These guys over here, there is a wasp nest that has about 15 or so, maybe more wasps on it. If I disturb them, they'll definitely sting me. Woo. I didn't think the wasps were going to bother me, but maybe they are. I do have a terrible feeling I'm going to get stung. We are out in the garden today trying to clear up all of our summer garden. It is all dead. I was actually out here the other day and quickly left. Ow! I did get, ow! All right. Well, that didn't take very long, did it? I've gotten stung already. Ah, can you see it right there? Man, that hurts actually. Ooh. All right. I'm gonna go and deal with this, and I don't know if I'm gonna be back. The other day I was out here and there were wasps flying all around, and don't you know it, I got stung very, very quickly. So we're gonna try it again today. It's a little bit earlier, it's a little bit cooler. There aren't as many wasps around, so hopefully we'll have better luck. I've already started to clear out this bed here that had the eggplant in it. You can see there's still some left. So we're gonna finish clearing out this bed. I need to get my leeks in here ASAP because all the things that I've started growing, I grew them early, and whatever's up there still hasn't been planted in the garden, and it is late. So we've got to get a move on today. And right on cue, the sun has come out. So I'm hoping that doesn't mean all of the wasps are gonna wake up now. But either way, we need to get stuff done. These beans are gonna go. I've decided. I was keeping them and I'm not any longer. We're transitioning here. All my basil is flowering. I did cut some of it here, but I'm actually gonna leave the rest because I saw the bees coming towards it. So we'll keep the basil flowers, and maybe it will self-seed itself for next year as well. I've got this sunflower that is not standing up on its own, but I don't know if you can see, it's put off a ton of side flowers. Initially, I wasn't overly keen on it because it was so dark, but actually it is beautiful. And I think I have a lot of sunflower seeds. So you can see if you just kind of like brush this away, all those are seeds underneath, so I can save a whole mess of seeds. See that wasp? I'm paranoid. So I'm gonna cut the heads off of these, hang them upside down to dry, and then we'll have some sunflower seeds to plant for next year. And I won't have to buy more because these are like $5 for like 12 seeds, which is a lot. So we'll save these. These weren't huge sunflowers. They were probably about 6 inches in diameter, and they were maroon. So I'm just taking the bigger of the sunflowers. I'm not gonna take all of the smaller ones. And I'm just going to, we'll hang them upside down. We'll tear off all of these leaves because we don't need them. And last year I hung them from like a drain pipe and just let them hang for a few months until they dried out. They probably didn't need to be there for a couple months, but they were there for a while. Sometimes you can let them fully dry right here out in the garden, but then the birds tend to get to them. The biggest one here, the bird, or a couple of them, the birds did start to get to, which is fine. It gives the birds something to eat. But if I want to save some of these, I have to grab them and hang them somewhere else. This eggplant probably would have grown back next year, but it's gone now. This soil is so dry. Don't even know what to do.
So at the time of amending this bed, I was dealing with quite a big issue of just my soil being completely dried out from our very hot, very dry summer. And I had watered this bed before putting any of the amendments on it. And as I was mixing it up, I was noticing that yes, I had watered the top, but it just had not soaked in to any of the soil below it. It appeared to be a bit hydrophobic. I did then still amend the soil with some sheep pellets and some blood and bone, watering after putting in both of those, then, tossing it around a little bit, watering it again. I did get it to a point where it was holding on to some moisture, but now we have just had a massive rainfall over the past couple days, and my beds now are completely saturated, so the issue has now resolved itself. But this is an issue that we run into almost every summer, where by the end of summer, the soil is just completely dried out. The sun's just beating down on it, which makes it really, really tough on the soil.
So I have all of these leeks to sow. I've made 45 holes. I think I have way more leeks than that, but we're just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pick some of they're all pretty big. I'm just gonna go ahead and put these into some holes. So I multi-sowed these leeks, so there are more than one in each cell. This one has 3 in it. I am going to separate them because we want them to grow big, but I'm just going to plop them in these holes. The holes are quite large because that soil will be loose around the leeks. It gives a chance for the leeks to grow bigger, hopefully. So that's what I do. I just pre-make the holes that are about 2 inches in diameter, plop the leeks into them, water them in, and then as it rains or as I water them, the holes will naturally fill in themselves, but the soil around them will be loose, so it won't be tough for them to grow wide. So I did let these get a little too big in their pots, so I'm hoping me disturbing the roots now is not going to hurt their growth. They do take a very long time to grow. They take about 7+ months to get to a nice big size as we grow them over winter. And this year, the variety that I have are winter giant leeks. I can't remember if I've grown these before. One year I grew Musselburgh and Welsh Wonders, and I had one definite favorite. I think it was the Welsh Wonder. But this year I have a winter giant. Last year I grew a variety that was just from the store because I got them pre-sown. And I've had better luck when we do mound them up as we go through winter, because then they get that nice long stem, where if you don't mound them up, their white stem isn't quite as long. So there's a one bed complete, just full of leeks. We'll just see how that goes. I have a ton of leeks left over, so I need to find some place for those to go or give them away. And but at the minute, we're gonna move on to the next bed. Can you see what I see? My supervisor up there on the hill watching me. This is where all of my determinate tomatoes were meant to be, and then I replaced them with some indeterminate tomatoes, which have been producing a little bit. These have been Tommy Toe tomatoes, and we've been getting a few still coming in. So we've got these small ones here. These are Tommy Toe tomatoes. They're little cherry tomato, like larger cherry tomatoes, but they're pretty much done. So I might take some of the tomatoes that have formed but are not quite ripe yet and let them ripen inside. And I'm gonna clear this whole bed out because in it we just have the tomatoes and then we have the marigolds, but the marigolds are dying off, primarily because I haven't been deadheading them. So with most flowers, if you deadhead them, that will allow them to continue to flower. Because I haven't done this at all with our marigolds, they have just died off. So I can get the marigolds out of here. The tomatoes aren't producing much. We can get these out of here. I have lettuce at the far end that is going to seed. It's gone to seed. So I want to clear this out. I want to amend this bed and plant my beets in here. And then I also, with any space that's left over, I'll probably put some parsnips and carrots in here. As per usual, I was taken away from the garden and did not return. So it's now another new day. I have finished amending the bed and now I'm up here in the greenhouse trying to salvage anything I can, but it's looking pretty dreary back there. But I hope we still have some beets that we can use in the garden. So I'm gonna grab those and we're gonna head back down and get those planted. So it looks like a lot of these beets are actually starting to grow in the containers into beets. So they're probably not going to transplant well. I mean, you can see we've got many beets here, so I don't know. I'm probably not going to be able to separate them. I'll just grow them as they are and stuff them into some holes here, and hopefully they will continue to grow and be able to expand. Some of them have like 3 beets in them, so if they're pulling apart easy, I am going to separate them. Honestly, I don't have high hopes for those beets, and there really aren't that many of them. So I have just gone and grabbed some seeds of some things that I want to plant in this bed. So I am going to plant more beets. I'm going to plant some swede because we missed out on that last year and I haven't even started them again this year. So I'm just going to direct sow all this stuff, and down towards the other end I want to plant some carrots, some parsnips. Yeah, I have 3 different types of beets that I'm seeding. I have Detroit dark red, Changeover, and my golden yellow beets. So I'm just going to split them up between all of these evenly. Let's see, I have 3, 6, okay, I have 7 rows. So I might actually do 2, 4, and 3. Okay. Those are my beets. Now I'm gonna do my purple top swede in this section.
I did start by putting them in their each individual holes and then realized these seeds are way too small and will do better if I just scatter and toss them around. So that's what I ended up doing, and then I just brushed the soil on top of it. So we'll see what we end up with here.
And then I have 2 different types of carrots. I have Scarlet Nantes and Manchester Table. Honestly, carrots, they do fine for me, but they're just like a little fun thing. They're not something that I actually get a good crop out of ever. So we're just gonna try different ones. I'm not sure which ones go well and which ones don't. I do want to do 2 rows of these other ones, the Scarlet Nantes. It's 2,000 carrot seeds that come in that package of the Scarlet Nantes. So I'm only planning on doing 2 little tiny rows of them. Then in this little tiny section over here, I'm going to plant some parsnips. Parsnips have never, ever, ever grown for me, so I'm not overly concerned about making them try and work. So for these parsnips, I have the hollow crown, which I think are a few years old. It says good for season 2024. And these parsnips that were mailed to me by a local, these were given to me last year. It says harvested in 2024, and we're going to plant them in 2025. It looks like I have enough to just do these that were harvested from someone in my community. So
we'll do these first. I'm just gonna put these in every few inches. I think they need like 7 inches apart. All right, now we have this small bed that I usually call Freya's bed. That was originally intended for Freya to do her own planting here, but I don't think she's ever planted anything in the garden, nor does she have any want to do that. So it has been mine. I have claimed it, but we still call it Freya's bed. In this bed, I do have some spring onions that we've been kind of cutting and letting regrow. I also have a few Sugar Rush peach chilies over there. There's actually 3 plants over there, but just that one big one, which is on its 2nd year, is huge. The other ones are really small that I had transplanted from another bed earlier in the spring. Oh, so they're all on their 2nd year. Okay, all 3 of those chilies are on their 2nd year. It's just that the one towards the front is just massive. Besides that, in this bed, I just have a few beans that need to be pulled. But last year I planted garlic in here. This year, I guess, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna plant my garlic in amongst the chilies this year. I think that's what I'm going to do. Well, I'm going to have to, because I'm going to plant this bed out in some fennel. So we're going to plant fennel here. Fennel will grow all winter long, and I think we'll be ready to harvest in the spring sometime. We'll find out. I've never planted fennel before. I have 2 different kinds. I don't know if they're just 2 different varieties or if they're meant to be used for different things. Don't know much about fennel, but we're going to plant it in this bed. And some of it we will eat, hopefully the like heads of fennel, if that's what you call them, and the rest we'll save for fennel seeds, because I really, really love fennel seeds in a variety of things, especially my sauce. I love fennel seeds in sauce, or in like sausage. Yum. So my 2 different types of fennel, this one just says fennel. It's from my advent calendar that I got. My other one is a Florence fennel. It says Salad Delight, full sun, garden beds, matures in 17 weeks. So we have some time. Plant it in the late summer, early autumn. So direct where they are to grow. Firm down, water gently, keep moist at germination period. Plant 30 centimeters apart. That's a foot. Plant a foot apart. Wow, so we're not gonna get very many in here. These from the advent calendar, I might actually plant out in my herb bed, but these we'll put in here. We're only going to be able to get like 13. Now we've got to deal with this bed here. This is my indeterminate tomato bed, and all of the tomatoes are still on it. And if you can see them, they're like dead limbs. So I've got to pull out all of my tomatoes. In the bottom, I still have my peppers and marigolds that are growing. It's hard to tell if there's going to be more of a pepper harvest because it is still pretty warm here. So I do intend on leaving the peppers in just to see how they go over winter. So I guess peppers and the marigolds are going to stay. It's just I might deadhead the marigolds or take any out that look like they're done flowering, take out the tomatoes, and I am going to try and amend the soil here. I obviously have the netting still up. All of this netting needs to come down. There's nothing in there that I need to protect. So we're gonna do that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get all of my peas and my snow peas planted. Last year I did this whole thing with peas and they just grew awesome. So we're gonna do the same thing again this year. Okay, so from that we were able to get some peppers out of there. So this is one of my last days, I think, that we're going to have to do our switch over from our summer to our winter planting. I have this bed to do where I want to plant all of my peas and my snow peas, and then I have the in-ground section over there that we just need to tear everything out. And
just plant some seeds. I'm not even really sure what I'm going to do over there. Possibly just toss some seeds to grow some cover crops, but as far as this bed goes, I'm only going to amend it with my blood and bone, and then I'm just going to plant the peas in. I'm not going to use sheep pellets in this one. So down at this end, I'm just planting the same that I planted last year. These are alderman tall climbing peas. So I'm going to do this half with those. There's still some mulch that's in here that hasn't broken down fully yet. I'm just gonna push that to the side, and we're gonna plant these peas underneath this trellis here. And I'm just planting the peas every couple inches apart. I can't remember, I think they're supposed to be 4 inches apart, but I'm just kind of winging it here. They'll be fine. They'll all just crawl up the trellis, and it won't really make too much of a difference here. I probably could even plant them a bit closer together if I wanted. Then again, I planted these last year. These are Goliath snow peas. We're just gonna plant these again. And this is going to be that second half of the trellis. So the second half of this section, and then the whole next section that's down there. I'm just gonna cut some of these marigolds out of here. That will give the peas a bit of space to grow. I've just popped over to the bed where I planted my beets, and on the opposite side of me is where I planted my leeks. I am going to plant snow peas on this trellis on both sides because last year I had planted sweet peas, which were absolutely beautiful, but then they lasted a bit too long, and then it was too late for me to get my tomatoes in. So instead of doing that, I am going to do snow peas, and they're usually done by the time I need to get my tomatoes in. So then I'll pull them when it's tomato time. So, or whatever I decide to plant here, who knows? I'll change my mind a million times between then and now. But yeah, I'm just gonna, on the inside of this trellis, just plant a few snow peas all along the inside, and then they'll climb up. There's so many other things that have self-seeded in here that are trying to grow. Tomatoes, marigolds, all sorts, but they usually don't make it. The tomatoes and the marigolds usually don't make it throughout the winter. Then we're gonna flip over here and plant some more. Now we've got to deal with all of this going on here. This is just completely dead stuff. My tomatoes, my tomatillos, okra, zucchini, artichokes. I have cabbage that I never took out of the garden. Yeah, it just all needs to go. I need to sort out what exactly I'm doing here. The snow pea mulch is still quite thick in this section, which is good because I haven't had to deal with many weeds at all, and it has done fantastic this year in here. But I need to now sort out, what does that mean I'm going to do now? I don't know. I do have some soil left over from the spring that I could put on top of here, but I'm also thinking I want to use it over in that herb bed. I might get just compost from the garden center to just put on here. I'm not really sure what exactly I want to do, but we're just gonna start by pulling things out, pulling any weeds that are in here, and then just checking to see what to do next. Now what? I've got that guy in there. He's big and he's looking at me. So we've cleared this whole thing out, and I have decided what I want to do with this space. So today is a Tuesday, and on a Thursday and Friday it is supposed to rain. Like, there's a pretty high chance. I'm hoping we actually do get rain because the ground is so dry and we desperately need some rain. But what I'm thinking is, after it rains, I can pull back some of this mulch. I will put some fresh compost on top of it, put the mulch back over it, and then I'm going to plant in some cover crops. And there's a few reasons why I want to plant cover crops in this space rather than planting something for us to harvest in the fall or in the spring. And that's because this soil is clay. I've tried to amend it for years now. It has gotten significantly better, but each year it does still get quite tough to work with. So I want to continue to amend this soil, and one of the things I've been looking into are cover crops. So if I can get these cover crops to grow and chop them all down before they go to seed, then I can use that to add nutrients to the soil, and hopefully it will help as far as clay goes. The couple cover crops that I'm looking to put are alfalfa sprouts, mustard, and then what I'm hoping will help break up or aerate the clay soil are some daikon radishes. So I'm hoping it's not too late to get these daikon radishes to sprout, or any of them to sprout really. Well, hold on. Alfalfa says it's good all year round. So does the mustard. And the daikon radish says all year round. So we should be good with all of these and getting them all to sprout. After it rains and we get the soil moistened up, then I'm going to deal with this area, add more compost, plant my cover crops, and just let them do their thing throughout the winter. And then in the spring, hopefully we will be dealing with some better soil. But that is all I'm going to do for today, guys. We have sorted out all of the raised beds with the exception of the pepper bed, and that I'm just going to plant in garlic, which will be coming in a couple weeks, and this main bed. So, okay, a lot of big area we have still to do, but the main things that I plan on harvesting in the fall, why do I keep saying in the fall? The main things I plan on harvesting in the spring have all been planted. There isn't much. Honestly, I've just been tired. I've been overwhelmed with tasks and just need a little bit of a break. So we're not actually growing much over this winter season. So yeah, we'll just see what happens. And that is it for changing over my summer garden to my winter garden. And I will catch you in the next one because we have so many different garden tasks that still need to be done throughout winter. See you guys.